In the Hawaiian language, that spirit of partnership, that unity of effort, or working together for a common goal has its own name, Wakahi. Aaron and his crew have embraced the idea of Wakahi, working together with their partners to address challenges and make their community here in Maui a safer and better place to live and visit. Let me give you some examples. So each year the state of Hawaii has about 8 million visitors. And of those 8 million visitors, about 2 million of them decide they're going to get into the water and get snorkeling or diving. And most of them do that on a commercial passenger vessel. And the Maui County has the largest number of those snorkelers and divers that are coming to visit us each year here. And they have the probably premier snorkeling destination in the state of Hawaii as well, with Molokini Crater. And since 2012, though, we have seen a dramatic uptick in somewhat of a tragedy in this regard. We've seen an uptick in the number of people that are dying engaged in snorkeling and diving. So prior to 2012, we were losing about 4 people a year statewide off these commercial passenger vessels. And any life lost is a tragedy, but 4 was seemingly to be a pretty consistent average. Some years it'd be a little bit more. Every now and then we'd have a good year where we'd have none, but 4 was a pretty good average overall. But in 2012, that average started to climb dramatically. So in 2012, between 2012 and today, our average has grown to 12 lives lost a year now. And we decided we really need to look at that. And Chief Stapleton has been, or Chief Warrant Officer Stapleton now has been a big part of that. And when we started looking at it and started seeing what those casualties actually involved, what we found out was this, that it's not that the passengers, or excuse me, it's not that the crew members are doing anything unsafe. And it's not that it's gotten any more dangerous. The water hasn't changed. The areas that they're snorkeling hasn't really gotten any more dangerous. What's really happening is that people who are going snorkeling, diving, are getting a lot older. Okay? And they're not in as good a physical condition as they once were. And so what's begun to happen is the trend has been that the people that are dying are generally over the age of 50. They are almost always overweight, and they almost always have very serious pre-existing medical conditions. And so the strain of diving or snorkeling or swimming in the open ocean on them, when they're not really in the kind of physical shape they need to be in, has been too much for some of them, and they've had heart attacks, and then they die. And so this is something that we care a lot about. We care a lot about it as a community. We care a lot about it as the Coast Guard. And so we've worked hard to try to come up with some potential solutions or some potential factors that will help mitigate some of that risk. I don't think we're going to be able to change the passengers. Okay? That's something that we just can't change. And we don't want to change people from coming to Hawaii. We want people to come to this state and enjoy the beauty that's in this island and the beauty that's on Maui, and be able to enjoy the snorkeling that you have at Molokini and other places along this beautiful coastline. But if we can, we also want to try to find a way to make it safer for some of those folks so they truly recognize what their risks are. So we've worked on trying to educate passengers as to what the risks are involved in snorkeling in the open ocean and how that might impact their health. We've also worked with the boat crews and owners and operators themselves to come up with some measures they can put in place to try to mitigate some of those risks while the people are in the water. And the final piece of that we worked on together, and we worked on this very heavily with the fire department and ocean safety and local EMS, is what do we do to improve our response when this event happens? So we put all our effort into prevention, but every now and then someone's still going to have a heart attack. How do we respond faster, better? Is there something else we can do to make this person more likely to recover and save their life? And so working with the owners, and specifically with the fire department, ocean safety, and local EMS, Aaron came up with some strategies to help us on that response side in particular that have been very beneficial. And so one of those measures was we worked with EMS to establish a partnership where we had an EMT go out with us to respond to the snorkel or diver case about Molokini Crater. And that alone has saved 8 lives, okay, in the last year and a half. So that's made a big difference there. And that type of wakahi, that type of spirit of working together, partnerships for the common good for everybody, has made a difference there. And Aaron, I want to thank you and Station Maui and our partners in the community for having the courage to step to the plate and work together on that. It's making a difference. Another example that I want to talk about came up last summer. And we had a search and rescue case that we were engaged in last summer, and it was very soon after we had a search and rescue exercise that we did with Ocean Safety and the fire department on some snorkelers. And in that exercise, I think we were looking for a missing snorkeler as part of the exercise. And it was a great opportunity to train together and participate the way we would in an actual real world event. Well, this particular event, it was I don't remember the exact day of the week, but it was a morning where there was a weather forecast that come up and said there was potential for very strong thunderstorms and a front coming through. And so the boat that went out had launched from just down the road here just a little bit, had gone out to the Mulliken crater very early in the morning. When they got on scene, they launched, or put their divers in the water, and they put the snorkelers in the water. And soon after they got in the water, the storm front blew in. And the seas got up to about 12 feet. The winds were blowing somewhere between 40 and 50 miles an hour. Very, very strong front. They weren't able to recover all of their snorkelers and divers. One of the young folks there lost their life, and the master of the boat that's out there is calling in trouble, trying to recover his passengers. Many of them had floated up onto the crater itself, kind of got pounded by the surf on the rocks. They had deployed one of his crew members to try to rescue them. That didn't work out. Deployed another crew member to try to rescue the person that's faced down the water, and that crew member suffered some very severe injuries where the lines she was tied off to the boat got sucked up into the jet drives of the boat and tightened around her waist and really hurt her very badly. So when we got that call, the station immediately got their folks together, got their boat crew going, and started headed out as fast as they could to get out there. And this is really at the peak of their operational limits. Okay? 12-foot seas is the max the boat's loads to be rated for without a waiver, and the winds were probably over what they were rated for, but they went and did it anyway because they knew it was the right thing to do, and they had the skill and confidence to be able to do it. And so as they did that, they also got a phone call to Ocean Safety. And Ocean Safety got a jet ski team out there, a team of 2 people on a jet ski, and they rushed out to help as well. And so when they got to the crater, they found 12-foot seas. They found some passengers that were trapped on top of the rocks there at the crater, get pounded by the surf. And the boat, our boat's a great boat, but it can't go into the surf and it can't get right up next to the rocks. And so the jet ski, the 2 crew members, they performed a heroic act. They got on the jet ski and they drove in, and a couple of times they got flipped and they had to come back out, but they were able to get into there and get the passengers off the rocks and transfer them to the larger boat. We were able to recover the deceased person and the person that had the severe injuries, get them on board the boat and get them back into health and safety care with UMass. So that type of partnership made a difference in those people's lives. That spirit of Lakahi, no one putting themselves first, but working together as a team, that made the difference there. And I'm really proud of them. And it didn't happen by luck, and it wasn't an accident. It happened because they laid the foundation together within the folks in the community by talking the story with each other, by training together, and developing that trust and understanding what each person's capabilities were and what they could bring to the table. So I'm really proud of them in that particular case. Aaron, I want to thank you for recognizing your responsibilities and role within the community, and for emphasizing that we want to be good partners and sharing in the work and living up to our responsibilities. When you don't care about who gets the credit and instead focus on your part, it's amazing how much you can actually accomplish together. You've embodied that concept. That's the true benefit of Lakahi, what we're trying to teach those little 8-year-old basketball players. So, usually at this point in time, you say a lot of good things about the outgoing individual, okay? And I'm really proud of Aaron, and I could go on for a long time, but as I heard a little girl say as I walked in, I'm going to be quick, all right? And simply say this, Aaron, you're a tremendous leader. I'm very proud of everything that you've done here with the station. I know your station shipmates appreciate you an awful lot. I know your XPO loves you and thinks the world of you. I think the world of you. I'm very proud of everything you've done. You're a great coxswain, you're a great leader, you're a great water, okay? And you're a great friend of the community. And we all appreciate that. And, previously, until the last 10 days or so, I could not call you by your first name. Because for me, I call all chiefs by their rank. Chief. They're chief, senior chief, master chief. Now that you promoted and we commissioned you as a warrant officer, I call you Aaron for the first time, and I'm happy and proud to do that, but I was very proud to call you chief as well. But going through that process, you put in an application. You had to put an application in for selection for that. And he competes with all the other folks in the Coast Guard that want to make a warrant officer. And so, I don't normally do this publicly, but I wrote down some things about Aaron in his package that I just want to read to you just for a second so that you can hear kind of what I think of him and how I value him. Okay? So in his package I put, he's among the strongest candidates for warrant that I've ever seen in any specialty. He has my strongest possible endorsement and is a must select for bosun. He has the complete package and epitomizes the definition of leader. He maximizes partnerships with other units and the community. He puts the units and shipmates' needs above himself. And he brings out the best up and down the chain of command. Subordinates never want to disappoint. Rock star. And that's how I feel about it. We got the voted and commissioned him 10 days ago, and it was a really proud moment for me. It's always good to see folks continue to advance and promote and reach their career milestones and goals. And he's going off to join the Coast Guard Cutter Eagle in Baltimore, Maryland. And for those of you who've seen the Coast Guard Eagle, you know what it is. If you haven't seen the Eagle, it's our sailing ship. It's a 3-masted sailing ship, 295 feet in length. Every cadet and OCS candidate takes a trip on it, sails on it, and gets to learn on it. So he's going to be an integral part of that. You're going to have to learn how to sail. If you didn't already know, you're going to learn now. You're going to be the sail master. And also, you're going to be in charge of managing that deck workforce. And that's a lot of people and a tremendous amount of responsibility. But I know you're up for that challenge because you truly are a rock star. And I'm confident that you will teach them the value of Lakahi and the other values that you've learned here and other lessons that you've learned and reinforced here in life. So, please join me so that we can more formally recognize your accomplishments.
Citation to accompany the award of the Coast Guard Commendation Medal, Gold Star in lieu of the second, Chief Warrant Officer Aaron M. Stapleton, United States Coast Guard. Chief Warrant Officer Stapleton is cited for outstanding achievement while serving as officer in charge of Station Maui, Hawaii, from June 2012 to June 2015. Under his command, Station Maui conducted 195 search and rescue cases, which saved or assisted 241 lives and $3.5 million in property, enhancing the safety of Maui's marine environment. Displaying superlative resolve, he successfully instituted comprehensive programmatic changes that enabled Station Maui to attain critical heavy weather capability for the first time since its designation as Heavy Weather Station in 2006. His dogged efforts to increase the unit's boat allowance to 2 boats needed to meet strict training requirements, combined with his vigorous work to certify 9 coxswains, dramatically bolstered search and rescue mission effectiveness in a particularly dangerous and challenging area of responsibility. Exemplifying profound commitment to partnerships, Chief Warrant Officer Stapleton revitalized critical partnerships with Maui County's Ocean Rescue Division and Fire Department. Using superb personal and professional skills, he coordinated numerous joint training exercises and operations that significantly expand interagency interoperability. Most notably, he forged a vital relationship with American Medical Response paramedics to reduce medical response times in southern Maui by half. To date, this initiative saved 8 lives and received public praise from the mayor of Maui County and state legislators. Chief Warrant Officer Stapleton was instrumental in establishing permanent support services that have assisted several other families. Chief Warrant Officer Stapleton's dedication, judgment, and devotion to duty are most heartily commended and are in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Coast Guard. The operational distinction device is authorized.